You okay?
When I slid down this, it went one way, it popped, and then it sort of went the other way when I tried to counter it, and it popped again.
Slide down red cover and push red button until green light starts flashing.
If you go to the bottom of my
Is there anything else?
there's a yellow drive.
Until green light starts flashing to turn off, press and hold button until lights turn off. Release button. But should we keep this on the whole time?
Yeah, keep it. I think so.
We don't need it. Do we want the signal to stay? So
Walking out with Lauren after setting off the PLB. We're now looking for the exit track.
I'm driving out onto the Nunes Plateau where I'll be meeting up with some canyoners today. The Nunes Plateau is a starting point for many spectacular canyon. It has some much smaller, drier canyons, which we tend to do in winter. And then in summer, we tend to do the much higher, much wetter canyons.
Abseiling!
we'd done Rocky Creek the day before, and we're really excited by what the guidebook said. It was going to be a not too long of a canyon, but it was going to be really specky inside the canyon, so that's why we chose Breakfast Creek Canyon.
Breakfast Creek is a wet canyon, so we'll need wetsuits, but we'll also take the added measure of thermals and a dry bag, a little bit of extra dry clothing, just so that when we do get out of the canyon, can get into some dry clothes and keep warm. The Rocky Creek area is quite remote. We definitely don't have mobile phone reception out here. Got about 1 hour, 1.5 hour walk in before we find the first pitch.
It did take quite a while to find the canyon and a little bit of back and forths.
Footprint here, so that's a good shot.
Oh, cool.
Just following the creek down. It looks like we found the first pitch.
But eventually we got around and we found a nice tree to abseil down from and made it into the canyon, which was great.
We're abseiling down a pitch.
From there we did a bit of creek bashing, climbed over some logs, pushed through some scrub. And then eventually we made it into the first proper pitch of the canyon. We finally got to the good bit of the canyon, and hopefully we don't get the rope stuck. It's about 30 metres.
Yeah, I reckon it's good. Off rope! Lean back more. Yeah, lean right back, that's it.
Please don't tell Grandma I'm here.
We made it through the dark constrictions and we headed out onto Rocky Creek. Rocky Creek is a pretty large creek and it's surrounded by cliff walls, so it's almost as spectacular as the canyon itself. So that was really nice. We were enjoying the walk out to begin with, but it was about 3:30 when we started that walkout. We had to keep moving to get out before it was too late. That was so graceful.
You okay?
I was at the front of the group, leading the group out of the canyon, and I heard her scream and we all turned around. She was at the back of the group and she'd slipped on a log and was on the ground. We're quite concerned because she seemed like she was in a lot of pain. So initially we thought, oh, hopefully it's just a sprained ankle or a rolled ankle, and she She just, she needed a little bit of a sit down and some minor first aid, and hopefully would be able to walk out. But we soon realised after assessing her that there was something severely wrong with her ankle and she was in an extreme amount of pain. That's when we started to get a little bit worried because we were still a fair way from the cars. We had a lot of ascending to go and we knew that we needed to make some big decisions, otherwise there would be a whole group of us spending a night in the canyon.
I have a trekking pole that we could potentially improvise a splint from.
You think it's bad?
I don't want to jinx anything. I think it might just be like a sprain.
We tried a few things. We tried to see if she could hop, if she could crawl, but she was really in a lot of pain and she couldn't weight bear at all. And at that point, we decided that we needed to set off the PLB. Setting off a PLB is not something that any of us take lightly, and it's really only for emergency situations. And in that event, we had no other options. She couldn't get out of the canyon with our assistance, and she really did need some help, so we did press the PLB. I was quite worried when we pressed the PLB because I didn't know if the signal was going to get into where we were, because we were surrounded by quite deep cliff walls in Rocky Creek. So that was quite a concern for us. Until green light starts flashing to turn off, press and hold button until lights turn off, release button. But should we keep this on the whole time?
Yeah, keep it. I think so.
We don't need it. Do we want the signal to stay? So.
Right, so we've detected a personal locator beacon. Looks like it's in the Willamine National Park. We'll just have a look at that. It's like it belongs to a lone, and the trip detail says it's being used for hiking. Rocky Creek.
So it looks like they're canyoning. Got the position. We'll go to New South Wales Police.
Yep, okay, and we'll organise. They'll get the response underway.
So when a PLB is activated, whoever's in distress who's set it off, the signal will go from there up to the COSPAS-SARSAT satellite system. Depending on which satellite detects it, we'll get the information from that beacon down to us, and it'll either include the hex ID and the registration details, and it may include a position depending on how the beacon's been detected. With that information, we're able to contact registered owners or emergency contacts, and we're able to plot the position and start to look at how we're best positioned to respond to that distress.
So I'll do up the transfer coordination message.
Right. I'll have a talk to air traffic and see what the airspace is going to be like out there.
Yeah.
See if we've got any aircraft nearby that are hearing the beacon.
Yep.
So we will look at where the beacon plots, so the position that it's come up in, the sort of activities that it's used for and who might be in distress and the nature of that distress. And then we'll start to look at the best placed authority to coordinate any response. We will normally talk to state police. Once we've spoken to the police, we talk to a central authority within police, and then they will look at what local response is going to be enacted.
So is it best if I go out? Is that or?
Yeah, you're the only one that knows the way out.
We decided that 2 people would stay to keep her spirit up, and the 3 of them could look after each other, and Ellen and I would walk out back to the cars and get more help.
Maybe if you go out and
Yeah, 2 should go out. Are you guys both happy to stay?
I'm happy.
We left the group of 3 with first aid supplies. We left them with extra food, extra thermals, as much stuff as we could to keep them safe and warm, because we knew realistically that they were going to be spending the night in the canyon.
Walking out with Lauren after setting off the PLB. We're now looking for the exit track.
What people do need to understand is that when they activate a PLB, we don't get any other information in regards to what's going on. So typically we don't know what the situation is until we get someone on the scene.
It was quite hazardous some of the way. There was more quicksand, there was waist-deep wades, and as we got to the gully to exit Rocky Creek, that in itself was quite a bit of a scramble, and we scrambled up some rock ledges that I certainly wouldn't want to go down without a rope.
Quite an exposed climb up, so definitely wouldn't want to do that at night.
Got semi-dry wood. See how we go with it.
Burn doesn't really burn. How about a bot?
Just coming up to the car park now, after a 2.5 walk out, coming back at night time. Absolutely relieved we got back to the car, and it looks like everyone is here. We've got police rescue, paramedics, so we're just going to go over there now and talk to those guys and then fill them in exactly what happened. Just absolutely amazed that they're all here. I mean, I just didn't think that PLB would get out of the canyon.
I think it was about 7 p.m. as we arrived back to the car park, and we saw some flashing lights heading down the track that our cars were parked on. We're pretty excited when we saw that scene. I didn't think that emergency services would even be in our area yet, let alone coming down the track to find our cars. So that was really exciting because we thought we were going to have to drive 40 minutes out of the Noon State Forest to go and get phone reception to give emergency services more information. So that was a great sign when we saw the VRA.
Lauren.
Yes, me.
Is there more people in the
So there's 3 people in there and 1 is injured.
Yeah, there's still 3 people in the canyon and 1 is injured.
They have 1.
We've got a procession of everyone coming.
When we get the incident for a PLB activation, we send the job over to New South Wales Ambulance so that they can also send an appropriate specialist response.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Jen. I'm paramedic.
So when I first arrived at the Rocky Creek Trail, there were a group of canyoners that had just exited the canyon, so they were able to tell us what happened and who was still left in the canyon.
Just an ankle injury? She didn't hit her head or, anything?
She was in a little bit of shock, but she was okay otherwise. Yeah.
Okay. And what canyon were you guys doing?
We were doing Breakfast Creek Canyon.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were told you were doing Rocky, and then I looked on the map and it's like, no way. Like, that's either Breakfast Creek or Coachwood, or they're way lost.
We work very closely with the special operations and the aeromedical paramedics. Their role is obviously to provide clinical access and pre-hospital care to anyone who's injured.
Food, water, so a bit of shelter to overnight.
They've got thermals and they've got 1 emergency blanket and they've got.
So there's 3 in there. 1's the injured person and 2 others.
They've got water purification tablets and they're right on there.
How was she injured? What's the injuries?
Oh, I think just in a broad ankle, was that it?
Yeah, she can't wait there. So
Yeah, how did it happen?
she just, there was a log and she just tripped over the log. Yeah.
Cool. And you didn't need any roping gear or anything, did you?
Not on the way, on the way out, we did some scrambling where I wouldn't come back down without a rope to get down.
One of the things with PLB activations is the unknown. So all we know is that an incident's occurred, and from there, it's a matter of gathering as much information as possible to then work out what's required for the rescue.
So how far is it back into where they are?
So it took us 2.5 hours to get here from where we left her.
Lauren's giving them the details of the injury and the state of the injured party, as well as the GPS coordinates of where they are in the canyon.
And that's the canyon there, is it? Yep. So she's up the top there.
What's that one?
That's
Just a tip.
Oh yes, just a walk. Yes, a creek walk. Yeah. Yeah, I did that.
In regards to a rescue in a canyon, the first thing is to try and establish the exact location of the party. From there, you need to try and ascertain exactly the equipment that is required to undertake the rescue. So whether that be vertical gear, overnight gear, and then just formulating a plan or a rescue plan.
It's not really worth the risk at night, though.
No. Helicopter?
Yeah.
No.
Correct. That's what I'm saying to you.
And they almost crashed last week.
Yeah,
They're really
my
bad.
job.
But what I'm saying, we've got some strobes, got the PLB, the helicopter circling around us, definitely getting closer. Now they're very close, they're hovering just overhead.
We utilised the helicopter that night just to get eyes on the injured party, so we knew exactly where we were walking into.
The helicopter is the first line of rescue, especially in a remote canyon. But if the patient is located anywhere near cliff lines or under a dense canopy of trees, then the helicopter just cannot winch in. Then it'll be a ground party that will have to walk in to that PLB area.
So what do you think? What do you think's the plan? Walk in, sit with them.
Yeah, top her out in the morning. All of
So who's going to go in?
We're in the other group.
The fit ones.
You need to take enough people in case you need to relocate her in the morning.
How are you going to get her out?
Tomorrow morning, that's okay. We'll probably walk in tonight.
Yeah.
We'll stay with everyone tonight
Yeah.
and give a plan relief, make them comfortable, and then in the morning, the helicopter.
Oh, okay, cool. I was just saying.
Okay, what gear did they have with them in there? They got food, they've got a fire, and what?
They've got a lighter, they've got an emergency blanket, they've got each of their thermal top, and they've got some music bars.
The decision to walk in at night to perform the rescue is made by both Police Rescue and New South Wales Ambulance Services. You get together and you work out exactly what equipment's needed. So to go into a rescue in a canyon, obviously you need roping gear, you're going to need overnight equipment. The ambulance have a whole range of equipment that they need to take in that we don't.
Do we want our utilities are 15 metres long, or are we looking at the 8 mil to 60?
Yeah, I take that. It's the same weight.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much more.
100%.
And it's much more usable.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised when police and the ambulance members notified us that they were going to walk into the group that evening. It was a great relief knowing that there was help on the way.
At night it takes a lot longer because we have to navigate off track, through the bush, down cliffs, and you can't see tracks, you can't see cliffs properly, and so it just takes a lot longer. It's high risk for us going into a canyon overnight in the dark.
We've got some wood drying out around it, so we should be good for a while. PLB's still ticking away over there.
When we got into Rocky Creek and found the injured woman and her two friends, they were very relieved to see us. They'd lit a big fire, which was great.
What do you have for dinner? What's the course?
We're whipping out the shapes.
All right. Well,
Look at that. They used to be shapes, but they taste good.
The reaction we got from the injured party was one of relief, I think. They'd been there a while. Although they had a good setup, they had a fire going, they had food. I think when you're in that circumstances, just to know that someone's there to assist is of great relief. So they were pretty excited.
When I get to like an injured person, you know, I'm quite relieved actually when I can help them and they're not severely injured. I love being a paramedic because I can really help people and make a difference. Like I can manage people's pain and save people's lives, which I love doing. But then I love the bush as well. Like I love canyoning, bushwalking, abseiling, and for me, being able to help people outside, like in this environment, is just the best job ever.
The thing I enjoy most about Police Rescue is being able to help people that are in distress. I mean, we get to work in a beautiful location, we get to be outdoors, we get to do canyons, bushwalks. It's what I love to do. So I think I'm very fortunate to have the job that I've got. When the rescue helo is overhead, it is one of relief. You know that they're then going to carry out the winch extraction of both the injured party and the rest of the ground party. And to know that you've done your job up until that point and you then let the rescue helo crew take over is one of great relief.
I feel really relieved the next day when the injured person and their friends are winched out of the canyon. I can relax a little bit then, and I've got a lot less responsibility after, you know, that they're okay.
Just want to say a very big thank you to the VRA, the local police and the ambulance that came along and assisted our group. It really shows that those teams all work in unison to help out the public, and also what an important thing it is to carry a PLB with you. So having that team head on in there in the night to provide the rest of the team members with food and sleeping bags made their night a lot more pleasant, and the fact that they were able to in the morning chopper the group out was a huge relief, and we wouldn't have been able to get the group out without the help of those emergency services. So a big thank you to all of them.